I wanted to give an overview of my current measurement system. I am using Steinberg, what is it, UR22. I have my inputs labeled reference and in. I do not, well, I have not had good success with the Steinberg and using phantom power for the microphone. I find trying to get its level high enough causes problems in all the other areas. I am powering it with USB. Maybe if I switched over to a high amperage 5-volt power supply instead of straight up USB off my computer, I wouldn't have problems. But getting the phantom power for my microphone, these are my test probes, I just have had a lot of problems, and I just haven't spent the time to figure it out. So I've stuck with a separate board for my microphone, phantom power, and controls. Let's see. I am using the good old-fashioned Behringer ECM 8000. I got it calibrated a very long time ago by Kim. I will not remember his last name. I am using my good old-fashioned Kenwood receiver. Everything's nulled out as far as bass treble. The loudness is turned off. I usually run it right about in the middle of the volume knob. Okay, my little boxy Wallens, not really jig. Basically, it's my line coming in runs to these 4 switches. So if I have straight, that's just straight cable going up to this on switch, out. These banana jacks tie into that line. Same with this banana jack. So now I would have my positive signal coming out of my amplifier going to this banana plug, to this banana plug, to this switch, to this banana plug, and out to the driver under test. If I want to throw in my 10 ohm resistor, I flip that on. Obviously, I just had these switches laying around, so I just did it this way. I could have put in a much better switching system, but I understand it. It works for me. These are my probes. I just use good old 1/4 inch, very teeny tiny, I think it's 1.5 feet. I think about 3 foot, and I cut them in half. I wire in my resistors and make them test probes. So I can put 2 test probes before these components. I can put 1 test probe after the components that I put in line. Let's see. Hopefully this makes sense. I got good old spring clips, so I made a little adapter to make it easy. So my signal comes up. This is positive going in through my box, coming out, going to this is my cabling to go to the driver under test. You can see I put banana plug connector at the end, so if I want to patch in these spring clips, I can. So now I can attach these to the driver. The negative goes straight out into the driver under test. So hopefully that makes sense. Positive coming out, going to driver under test. Negative coming out of amplifier, going to driver under test. I made a cable. My outputs of my sound card go into the CD input of my receiver. So I made cables that were 1/4 inch to RCA to go into the receiver. So now I have total control over, say if I'm doing the microphone, I'm doing an SPL measurement, I will pull that. I always use the left for whatever reason and bring it over to my input. So there's reference. I just patched in my microphone. You can see I just have it on the left signal there. My microphone is now being phantom powered, controlled by this little, is it Mackie? I think it's Mackie. It's not Behringer, that's for sure. So Mackie 402, whatever. But I find it very easy, very neutral, very easy to use. So now I've got my microphone patched in. These levels are what I usually run it at. I usually run it straight up across the board. Don't do this. This is for, like, if I remember right, some kind of guitar setting for this input. Have it flipped all the way over to DAW, digital audio workstation. Phonos, you know, doesn't matter. That's the signal coming out of the phono plug. But that's my setup. It's a tidy little setup. It's relatively kind of portable, just for rolling around. I have it on like a little rolly cart with my notes. My cables go into the drawers. That's my system. And these are my test probes. And so if I want to switch back over, instead of microphone coming into it, I can switch back over to my test probe and start doing impedance measurements, TS measurements. It kind of bugs me that I don't have these colors, but my OCD will have to deal with those cable colors just being what they are. I just bought like a random 10-pack or whatever, 3-foot cables, and cut them up. So that's what I'm running. Again, I know I could be using or try to use, but I just haven't had success. It's just, it's almost like the phantom power isn't powerful enough. I can't raise or get the microphone input to the level or place that I want in comparison to my reference signal. And once I start getting to where I want, I'll start running into, it's just overloading. It's just like, this is dumping all the way over to the highest point. So I have not looked into it. I know some people on the forum may have had success with the Steinberg UR22. I have not. I've stuck with just a regular board to do my phantom power for my microphone. So that is it in a nutshell. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments.